This is a message from the National Weather Service. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Black Hollow and surrounding areas. Expect dangerous winds exceeding 80 miles per hour, intense lightning, and flash flooding. Seek shelter immediately. Repeat, seek shelter immediately. Black Hollow was a quiet town nestled in the valleys of Pennsylvania, a place where people didn't lock their doors, and the biggest event of the year was the county fair. But on the night of September 14th, everything changed. The storm came suddenly. The news had warned about strong winds and heavy rainfall, but no one was prepared for what followed. The air felt thick, almost charged, like the moment before a lightning strike. The sky churned with dark, unnatural clouds, flickering with silent bursts of blue light. Then the sirens began to wail. Not the usual steady drone of a tornado warning, but something else. The tones twisted unnaturally, warping into agonized shrieks that rose and fell in ways that made the skin crawl. At first, we thought it was just a malfunction, some freak interference from the storm. But then we saw them. I had just settled in for the night when the power flickered. My dad was out of town for work and my mum was asleep upstairs, so I was the only one awake when the streetlights went dark. The wind howled outside, rattling the windows. Rain lashed against the glass like frantic fingers. I pulled my phone out and opened the weather app. Severe thunderstorm warning. But something about the air felt wrong. It carried a strange scent like rust and damp wood. Then the sirens started. A deep, wavering moan that didn't sound quite human. It echoed through the streets, vibrating through my chest. I moved to the window, pushing aside the curtain just in time to see a bolt of lightning split the sky. For a moment, the entire neighborhood was bathed in white light. That's when I saw them. Silhouetted against the flashes of lightning towering above the treetops, stood massive creatures, over 20 meters tall, their elongated limbs bent at unnatural angles. Atop their spindly necks sat grotesque metal sirens, cracked and rusted, blaring an ever-changing cacophony of shrieks, alarms, and garbled static. They didn't speak. They didn't mimic. They only screamed. I froze. My breath caught in my throat as one of them moved. Its head jerked slightly and the siren atop its shoulders let out a shrill, ear-piercing wail that made my vision blur. Then the lights went out completely. For a few minutes I stood there paralyzed. The only light came from my phone screen, casting an eerie glow across my trembling hands. My mum stirred upstairs, her voice groggy. "Power's out," she called. "Yeah," I whispered, too afraid to speak any louder. Outside, the wind howled, but beneath it, I heard something else. Footsteps, slow, deliberate, moving through the wet grass. Then came another sound. The sirens blared again, shifting into a discordant wail, followed by distorted emergency broadcasts. The sound of shattering glass and distant, unintelligible voices. It was pure chaos, a sound that sent my heart into a wild rhythm. The floorboards trembled beneath my feet. A distant metallic screech tore through the air, followed by the shuddering boom of something massive stepping closer. I turned to the window just as another flash of lightning lit up the sky. One of the creatures was only yards away now, its enormous body blocking out the moonlight. Its siren head twisted sharply, and with an ear-splitting burst of noise, it screamed. I clamped my hands over my ears, but the sound burned into my skull. My mum's voice cut through the noise. "We have to hide. Now!" We sprinted toward the hallway closet, squeezing inside just as a deafening burst of white noise rattled the windows. For what felt like an eternity, we sat in silence, barely breathing. Heavy hands thumped against the tile roof, cracking and splintering wood. A sickening creak sounded as something impossibly tall bent down to peer into the house. The siren emitted a garbled emergency signal, followed by the sound of a frantic 911 call looping over itself, voices blending into one another. Then came an ear-splitting mechanical wail, a sound so unnatural it made my stomach churn. The creature lingered. A shadow cast by intermittent lightning stretched beneath the crack in the door. The closet felt too small, the air too thin. I could hear my mother's breath, short and panicked, matching my own. Then came the scraping. Something long and metallic dragged across the roof. My body stiffened as a low rumbling noise filled the space. A deeply rattling breath. The siren atop the creature's head let out an intermittent blaring honk, followed by an eerie stretch of silence. Then it shifted. The heavy thud of its footfalls slowly retreated, but we didn't dare move. Even after the thunder cracked again, even after the house fell silent, we sat in that closet, waiting. An hour passed. Then another. Every few minutes, the sirens blared somewhere in the distance, making my stomach tighten. The storm hadn't let up. It had gotten worse. The rain was deafening, and the wind roared against the walls of our house like a living thing, hungry and searching. A gust of wind howled into the house through the now damaged roof, carrying with it the scent of rust and damp earth. The sirens in the distance grew more distorted, warping into something almost organic, like the moaning of some great, ancient beast. By morning, the storm had passed. The news called it the worst natural disaster in the town's history. Houses were torn apart, dozens were missing. The emergency sirens officials claimed had malfunctioned due to electrical interference. But I know the truth. I know what walked through Black Hollow that night. Even now, sometimes, when the wind howls late at night, I hear them still. The sirens, waiting for the next storm